Hello, techies. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tony, and you're watching Tech with Tony channel. So, hope you guys are having an amazing day today. So, I'm here with another tutorial with the Spring Boot connecting to the data source PostgreSQL. So, there are multiple data sources, but in this session, I'm going to cover you with the Postgres data source, how you can connect to Spring Boot, and what are the CRUD operations we can use it with the Postgres. And even also give you some tips like how do you install the Postgres tools and how do we use that Postgres tool and data source in our application. Without further ado, let's get started. Have a great day. Thank you. Okay, welcome back again. As I mentioned that we are going to connect with our Spring Boot application to Postgres data source. So mine is like Mac OS. I just followed few links like to install the Postgres data source in my local. So even I'll give you those links. Like you can follow the same links and try to install the Postgres data source as per your OS. If it is Windows, follow the Windows link. If it is Mac, follow the Mac OS link. There are multiple tools that I used for the Postgres after I installed that, and when I will show you those, that's the one of the tool I used is like you know Postgres admin tool, PC admin. We call it as a PC admin. So that you where you can see all the tables and all the stuff like that in that PC admin tool. And there is another tool. So this is called PostgreSQL tool. This is the tool that where you, after installing, that if you don't know how to install the Postgres in your local with the commands and all, so you can use this PostgreSQL tool. That way it will give you that how do you initialize and how do you create your database and all. The configuration files and everything we can change using the server settings that I showed you before. In the server settings you can change your configurations and even you can configure your port. And this is something like as I told you that this is something that PC admin tool where the PC admin tool under you see this is a test DB which I created from my testing purpose. You can follow the comments. Even I'll give you those links in the description of what are the comments I used to create a PC admin, what are the comments I used to create a username password for my database. Let me delete this. Okay, I deleted because I ran this already, this application, so I you could see that now that is not there here anymore. Okay, so inside the test DB, I created a test DB. Inside the test DB, you can see the schemas. Under the schemas, if you go down, yeah, this is my local DB and this is test DB which I used. Under the test DB, you can see the schema section over here. If you go towards down, like somewhere in the in the schemas, then you can see the tables section over here. So in the table section, you could see there is a person table, right? So the person table you can see here. This person table, which comes from our model class, which comes from our entity class. So for that, you could see in our previous examples, we have a model class like this, which is which it's very nothing else in this one. Like it's just a setters getters with our Lombok and all. So before you want to connect with the database and entity and anything, you need to look into that entity class. How do we create and all? Not only that, you also need to add some dependencies, right? Because you are connecting to the Postgres. So of course you need a Postgres dependency to be used, and also we need some repository which handles connecting to the data sources directly. So to do these things, so I used JPA starter repository a dependency, JPA starter. Okay. So and also I used a Postgres dependency. If you see, yeah, this is the Postgres SQL, and this is something like data JPA repository. So the reason I'm using Lite, I really wanted to connect my data source with the help of Hibernate framework. So for this Hibernate framework to interpret this Hibernate changes into my application, I'll simply use starter data JPA. Okay, so if I use that, then I can make it the simple model class into entity with the annotation call at the rate entity. Okay, let's see. Let me, yeah, you see this is an entity at the rate entity, and there is table, and I named it as a person. That is what you can see it in the Postgres, right? The person table name. So all this entity and table are the new annotations for you. All these two are something like those are two are the interfaces, and also um, just like that. That's all you wanted to add. Nothing more than this. Just a table and just an entity annotations. But assume that the table which is having will not be a proper table if you won't have any primary key in it, right? So of course, for any table, if you call it as if you wanted to check the details and whatever you want, you need some primary. So in my case, in this application's case, what I did was like I created an ID with a long type, and you could see at the rate ID I just annotated. This is one of the interface. So if you go inside the set the rate ID, this is an interface with the retention runtime. So that's all, and nothing more than this, right? When I said retention runtime, something like this ID need to be generated, right? So you should use this combination with the generated at the rate generated value. There are the different strategies, but now I'm just using generation type is auto. So I'm saying my Spring Boot application, when you see this at the rate ID and the strategy type is auto, whenever I'm trying to insert into the database, just generate a sequence of ID automatically. In some cases, like this generated would be referring to the sequence also back in database sequence. Yeah, that's all about this model class, this table and entity. So you need some properties to connect the backend. So you should give these details in the backend to connect our Spring Boot application, like data source. You should define username, password, and also you're saying that this contextual creation is true. This means a creation, and also you have a DDL auto is updated. This is pretty much important because in person, so you're just annotating with the entity and the table, right? So you are telling that Spring Boot to create automatically, or if it is already there, just update it simply. So the tables and all, you're not manually creating into the Postgres. It's simply the Spring Boot does this, and with the help of JPA. So the JPA will take care about creation of tables in your data source simply. So since I'm using Hibernate dialect, so I should use PostgreSQL dialect for this. And this is something like SQL localhost 545. Let me go there. These usernames and the password you can alter with some commands, with the SQL query commands once you connect to this Postgres server. And since I'm learning in the local, I'm just pointed to the local host. And the port 5453 and testdb, these things I will be defining in one of the tool I told you. This is the PostgreSQL. You see this server settings. Okay, let me click this. Yeah, this is if you click on the server settings, you should stop the Postgres, but currently it is running, so you are not able to edit the details. But if you stop and do, and you can change the port number, and even you can give that you can create your own database also using this tool connecting. So let me do one thing. You see these logs and all, right? Also logs also will be created in this log file. Log file. Let me click this one once again. Yeah, so you see this is the local host I'm connecting, correct? And even if that's come from this 5453, as I told you, this port will come from here 5453. Let me do one thing. So let if I double click on this one, this Postgres thing, the terminal will be popped up. So the terminal, then using some commands like Postgres commands, you can connect to the test DB which I connected, and you can perform whatever the operations you can perform directly using this terminal itself. That's all about this terminal, Postgres, and all everything. Looks like okay. So the terminal you can open it by clicking directly in the Postgres tool. Okay, let's close these things. Yeah. So settings, properties, and the dependencies, adding these dependencies, and like data JPA dependency, Postgres dependency in Format XML, then converting our model class into entity by adding entity annotation and table. So we're good now. Okay, so let's create some some classes which deals with the backend. So firstly, I'll be creating one interface. Okay, the I'll name it as the package as a repo, and name it interface with the person repo. Since we are dealing with the person table and person entity, I just named as a person repo, which extends JPA repository. The T which you see, the generic format, the T which is you should always point it to the entity which you're going to refer for. So in my case, I'm referring person entity, and the ID you see in person. Let me click that. If you click the person class, that my person class is having a long ID, so that's the reason I just mentioned as person entity and the long type of ID. If you click the JPA repository, you see there are many more abstract methods here, like find all, delete all, yeah. And if you go down, we need most of the time like save all, find all by ID, and all these are the methods which are forwarded into this person repo. So those methods will be available for this when you are auto-varying this person repo. Okay, so if you need, you can annotate with the repository to just to make sure that the Spring understands properly what kind of interface it is. Yeah, now let me create a service class where you write all your business logic. The class, I'll change the package as service, and I'll name this service class with person service, where you all the business logic will be resided inside this class. Make sure that this is the format of Spring Boot. So the service should always have a business logic. The repo should only have a CRUD operation for that. Okay, let me auto wide. This is another annotation, guys. I guess. So when you do auto wide annotation, you literally need this person repo to be injected by the Spring Boot. To make sure that person repo object is available for you. So I'm creating a method called person process. It processes the person identity. So my variables are like method variables of person variable argument is it's one of the person argument. What I will do, I'll simply save it for now. Like I'm using person report dot save. As I told you, the save stands for the saving of single object into backend. Save all, like saving a multiples of array of person objects into backend. So for now, I'm just saving only single person object. So I will be using person save only. Okay. Now, what you can add, you can add it this as a service, so Spring Boot can understand easily, and scan this component properly with the service. So in the service, nothing else in this interface. Yeah, even it was like retention is runtime. Okay, so you can have these definitions properly. What it stands for, why this service annotation, what this service annotation stands for, and all details you can get it over from the Java doc. And yeah, we have repository, we have service. Let's run the logic here. So in this controller class level, what I will be doing is like I'll getting the reference of service. So let me auto void person service. Sorry, person service. Yeah, let me create an object for this person service. Then this person service dot process person. I'll be passing this person directly to it. Yep. Now you're all good. Like you have everything now. So without further ado, like what we can do, let's you know let's check this service and everything properties we have. Yeah, everything we define the properties and all perfect. We should connect to the test DB. And make sure that once you run and hit this service, you should go inside the test table and check that. And yeah, I started the application now. You can see the Tomcat up and run. Now let's go to the Postman tool. This is our test tool. So check with Tony, last name, address, email. So I'm not giving any ID. So I'm just hitting this. Yeah, I got the message this person created successfully. Now let's go to the backend. Let's see in the PG admin tool now. Nothing else you can see here. Let's go into the PG admin tool. Let me refresh it. I guess it's supposed to be under tables, person. Yeah, test DB, schemas and tables. Inside you have a table. Yeah, that's 1 second. My mouse. Okay, so click again. Person. Oops. There it is, like in down the line. There it is, like view or edit data. Let's go up. Okay, 1 second. Go down. Yeah. You see, this is a view data. All rows. You can click this. This is something like select start from person table. That's just the creation. Retrieving a whole data from the person table. Yeah. Since I already ran this application, my auto generation is one. It's gone, and this is, see, if you see, I have first name, last name, address, email, but I'm not sending any ID from my Postman tool. But you can see this ID was got generated with the tool. The reason is, like, in the person entity we have at the rate ID and the generated value strategy with the auto, right? Since we have auto and this Spring Boot with the help of KPI, it does these things, like it always try to add the primary key to it. Okay, this is pretty much interesting. So we will try to, you can write any comments here with this Postgres SQL query. It's pretty simple for you, and this is just like some other data source connecting with some other data sources. Okay. Okay, that's all with another great session, guys. Like, I hope you enjoyed it. If you really have any doubts, just give me those doubts, and I'll try to explain those. For the references, you can look into the description blocks. I just put this installation details and queries and how do you create a Postgres server for you and all. I just give it in the description box. You can go and refer it. Thanks, keep watching, and if you really like and subscribe my channel. Thanks a lot, guys. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.